What's up, everybody? You're watching The Back Cover, your source for game news, reviews, and more, brought to you by Velvet Games. In today's review, we'll be looking at a new indie title that just dropped called Dungeon Inn. But before we dive into the game, let's discuss how the review works. Skip to this timestamp if you just want to get into the ratings. And here we go. There are 6 factors that we at Velvet Games look at when giving you our rating for each game. The first is graphics and visuals, looking at the overall appearance, graphical performance, and artistic aesthetic of the game, or for tabletop games, the artwork of the box and components. Second, we have the story and narrative. Story is important for any game in attempting to immerse you in it, so we'll be rating how well that is accomplished, whether through subtle lore details or outright pacing, construction, and complexity. Third is gameplay mechanics. How well does the game actually play? Some games are made for older audiences or have, to say the least, a steep learning curve in order to play the game as intended, and we'll be breaking down how well the game teaches its players how to do so. Next is sound and music. Only applicable to games that actually have sound. We'll be looking at sound quality, Foley work, composition, and application of music and sound effects that are available in the game. Then comes the replay factor. Any good game should be enjoyable at least more than once. And while few master the art of addictive gaming, we'll be diving in to find out just how addictive each game is. And finally is the personal score. This is purely subjective and can add to or take away from each score, so that while each game can certainly be well made, it doesn't necessarily make it likable. Don't worry, we'll try to be as unbiased as we can be, but we feel it's only fair to let you know just how much fun we had playing the game. Together, this makes up the back cover honeycomb, average for a final Velvet Games score to be listed together with other games on our website, myvelvetgames.com/game-reviews. Before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you're notified of when we drop new episodes. We appreciate your support. And now, for the review. Dungeon Inn is an early access indie clicker game made by Korean game studio Cat Society, a team of only 3 people. While it's small and new, it's clear that a lot of time and effort went into this game, as even in early access, I didn't encounter any bugs, even on launch day. Loading into a fantasy world, our players are greeted by 3 companions, Sarah, a human, and her 2 feline friends, Butter and Bami. During a storm, they take shelter inside a mysterious-looking cave, only to find themselves in an ancient dungeon. Taken captive by wisps, they are led to a fearsome dragon, but when faced with their certain doom, Sarah offers the dragon a deal to turn the entrance to the dungeon into an inn and to pay monthly tribute to the dragon in exchange for their lives. The dragon agrees, and the Dungeon Inn is born. What can only be described as fantasy capitalism simulator, Dungeon Inn is a game of turn-based strategy and management attempting to lure in travelers from 2 factional cities who do not get along. The game gives goals and milestones to achieve, carefully planning and balancing the desire for gold with the understanding that the opposed factions will do battle should they encounter each other at the entrance to the inn. Dungeon Inn uses a simplistic art style that feels very cozy, and almost somewhat reminiscent of some mobile and flash games of the past. It makes use of basic cutscenes and dialogue similar to visual novels, which can interrupt gameplay at times. While it may not have been the most beautiful or highly detailed graphics, it makes good use of the simplistic styles available to small studios, and overall gives off a very indie vibe just from the graphics alone. As I didn't encounter any major graphical bugs sometimes found in early access games, apart from some skipping frames or occasional sluggishness, I would say that the visuals were very well implemented overall. Dungeon Inn gets a 7 out of 10 in this category for its use of pleasant, stable graphics and artwork in the game. The story of a small team making a deal with a dragon to run an inn in a fantasy world may not be the most unique premise, but it certainly has a charm about it, and feels very much like what certain players might get up to in a session of D&D given the opportunity. At times, the story felt like more of a backdrop for the gameplay, which is more centric to Dungeon Inn's identity as a whole. The cutscenes felt well placed as they never interrupted the main gameplay, but served to provide background and more depth to what the player was actively engaged in, and rarely stretched for longer than would be considered desirable. The dialogue pop-ups did feel a bit awkward at times, specifically as they tend to appear just before a new action was available to the player, but as they often serve to teach the mechanics, this can be forgiven. Dungeon Inn gets a 7 out of 10 in this category for interesting, brief cutscenes to develop an interesting world. Point-and-click games may not appeal to everyone, especially our more hardcore gamers among the group. But for a point-and-click game, it didn't feel overly repetitive, as the way that the power-ups and actions were utilized had to be carefully thought out. For strategy game players, this will feel much more familiar, and as a whole, it didn't feel too complicated or difficult to access. The user interface was well laid out, with pop-up tutorials that teach the user how to execute new actions and best plan for what the game intends to throw at the user next. I did notice some stuttering of gameplay, but this is likely due to poor engine optimization. After all, I played it on launch day, so for an early access game, this is to be expected. As for something that seemed a bit overbearing was that certain actions, especially during the tutorial for those actions, required resources and had to be completed to progress in the game. For a tutorial, this is pretty normal, but it was still a bit aggravating to worry about. Dungeon Inn gets a 7 out of 10 in this category for solid structure and well-flowing gameplay that felt rather seamless and refined despite it being in early access. Dungeon Inn certainly did their homework when it comes to audio. The soundtrack evokes feelings of a certain whimsy and adventurous nature that fits extremely well within the game, and quiets at moments for the player to concentrate or think. At no point was I overwhelmed by the music during the game, which felt well-placed and well-timed. The Foley work was also extremely well done, being very satisfying to hear as I clicked through each stage of the game. While I wouldn't consider the soundtrack particularly timeless, it felt unique and charming enough to say that it was very well made. Dungeon Inn gets an 8 out of 10 in this category for being exactly the whimsical audio that this game needed. Well done. As any game should be, Dungeon Inn was addictive to the point that I just wanted to play a little bit longer when I finally shut it off. As it is not a hardcore title, this game can be mildly relaxing and enjoyable to the casual gamer, or just someone looking to kill some time. As the game gradually increases in complexity, it makes it desirable to continue playing, wondering exactly what we'll see in the next level. And with Dungeon Inn being an early access title, it's sure to come with some updates that'll add to the overall experience. Dungeon Inn gets an 8 out of 10 in this category, as I just can't seem to put it down. Way to go. It's been a while since I've enjoyed an indie game like I have with this one. Its lighthearted nature and visually appealing artwork make Dungeon Inn a game I find myself returning to, and I can't help but enjoy myself when I play. And the fact that it's only $13 makes this a title that I would recommend to just about anyone who has a computer and likes video games. While I understand that not all gamers will enjoy something this casual, I'm confident that this title will stand out in the future among indie titles. Does it stand up to the time-tested titles of the AAA variety, or even other indie games like Undertale and Stardew Valley? Perhaps not. At least, not yet. Dungeon Inn gets an 8 out of 10 for this category for being a fairly unique title that I think deserves more attention than it's receiving. To sum it up, Dungeon Inn is a strong title among the indie community that already shows great promise. And with 3 hotfix updates in just over a week of launch, I can tell that the developers of this game are already looking to address the issues mentioned in the previous categories. While it's perhaps not for everyone, it's certainly worth $13, especially in the world of overinflated AAA titles asking for $60 or $70 for a few hours of gameplay. Our summary of this game gives it a total score of 7.5 out of 10, making for an enjoyable experience if you decide to get it. Make sure to check out our channel for other game-related content and more reviews in the future. Do you like what we got? Maybe you disagree with the rating, or maybe you just want to suggest another title for us to review. Drop a comment down below and we'll be happy to look into your request. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to Velvet Games for more content. Whatever you do, we want to thank you for watching, and as always, stay awesome.